Good morning and welcome to another Top Agent Commercial Wednesday. This is a very important one, as we can all tell. A lot of volatility and a lot of uncertainty in the market, especially in the brokerage business. Many of us have been around, I would say, you may have started, but many have been around 5, 10, 20 years, maybe even 30 years, watching all the changes, the ups and downs. And this is not anything new, but we all have to adapt, because if we just focus on just our brokerage commissions and money, sometimes that is lacking, or there's other things we can do. And I'm very excited to have a very dear friend and an expert specialist, longtime instructor, as many people may have taken her class. But I think, Patricia, you've even evolved. You trained the trainers. You trained many people that train everyone else. So if you don't mind, Patricia, sharing your background, but thank you so much for being on this podcast interview, so we can share your experience and really why, everyone should be consultants. But if you don't mind sharing some of your background.
You bet. Excuse me. Thanks, James. And hello, everyone out there. It's good to see you. I see a few old friends as well. Background, I've been in the real estate industry for about 100 years. Not really, but I started out as what I would call a street broker, knocking on doors, office buildings, built a team in Central California, and then got my CCIM designation, moved to San Francisco, was in a couple of different companies working in institutional sales nationally, part of a small team. And then the part that veers into what we're going to talk about today, that title, Don't Give Your Services Away for Free, is that early on, I was, as a new CCIM instructor, I was asked to help a national company convert from what they call gunslinger brokers. I don't know if you've ever heard that term. Have you heard that term, Jim? Gunslinger brokers, meaning take no prisoners, and it's all about the deal, to consulting and corporate services. So I had some experience there in looking at the consulting side of the business early in my career. Then was with a couple name initial firms, was also a director of corporate services for a Big Four accounting firm, and then went out and formed my own company. So that's sort of the cliff notes of the background, but in the why I'm qualified to talk about what we're going to be talking about, I've really seen the real estate transaction development from all sides: the principal, the consultant, the agent, the consultant that hires the agents. And it's been a lot of fun, and we're going to find that there are a few key messages or key principles that are consistent throughout.
Patricia, I know, and you just covered it really quickly of your background, because there's so much more you've done, like you said, being a street broker, gunslinging, doing deals after deals, take no prisoners, to, teaching, managing, watching, and training so many brokers in your career. I know even for CCIM, you do a lot of the review for all the commercial, the CCIM broker candidates before they take their test, in addition to giving other courses that you train and teach. So you have an immense amount of experience and knowledge, under your belt.
We learn something every day, but the always stay curious and lifelong learning aspect of the industry is what really keeps us going. If you're going to be long-term sustained in this industry, you always need to be curious. You always need to be saying, what am I going to learn that's new today? So early on, because of what CCIM and having that knowledge brought to the table for me, I became interested in the whole training aspect of our business, and not just what you can listen to on YouTube, but what really makes knowledge stick. How do we confer it so that people understand, and then also make what we're talking about a habit, make it part of your practice, so that you can do what we're here for, which is to serve, but also to make money, right?
And I love the title where you're saying with all this knowledge, how to diversify your income stream. As we know, just having the transactional, eat what you kill, it's pretty tough sometimes, right? It's the feast or famine, many brokers know. So how did you learn not to give your service for free? Because I know as an M&M broker back in the day, that was the shop, right? I eat what I kill, and we were take no prisoners. But we would be running comps for our agent, our clients. We'd be doing all these freebies, and just we know there's value. We wanted to keep the relationship. How did you develop a kind of that consulting mindset, diversifying your income and pivoting, making this change? And I think it is so timely now.
Sure. Well, one fun little saying about consultants is that they say that you ask them what time it is, and then they tell you how to build the watch. So I'm going to, which has a lot of metaphors, but I'm going to talk a little bit about building that watch and going back to that national company that was trying to convert from gunslinger to corporate services. And the idea with that is that if you're representing a corporation that has multiple locations, but you're being paid on every kill, if you will, every deal that you make, and the corporation says, well, we have a 500 square foot space in Lodi, California, you're not going to turn your attention to that. So because there's no money in it, right? And so what we did was we looked at the time, this company was the only one considering corporate services and consulting. And I'm going to use the two interchangeably, corporate services and consulting, although they're not exactly the same thing, but they embody similar characteristics that you need. So the only other company that was providing these services at the time was the Staubach company, Roger Staubach. Other than that, it was an open playing field, and so they saw an opportunity to win America's corporate business. To take that mindset of I don't get paid unless I do a deal, and convert that to something different, which is I'm going to manage the account. It took a shift in perception from the company. The company had to pay salaries. These people were now being salaried. And additionally, there was a different culture that needed to be instilled. And that culture was not, and as you said, you grew up in it too. That culture was not that very competitive, lock your drawers at night. That was how can we all work together? You laugh, so you remember that, right? So how can we all work together? So early on, this was instilled in me. Okay, it's going to take a little bit different mindset. So when I went on to other companies, this national company that I was on the investment banking team with, and I'd look at the deals we were doing, and I'd want to dig deep into the deal. I'd want to take a lot of extra time to provide more information, provide more services that the revenue model didn't really accommodate. In fact, they used to say, Patricia, your deals aren't deals, they're careers, because we picked the complicated ones and they needed more focused attention to them. So that was one thing. The other is, let me just share a slide here that kind of says it all, I think. Okay. Taking a second here. All right. Can you see that?
Not yet.
Okay, it's coming.
Maybe
Well,
you could just share some stuff while it's kind of loading up.
yeah, I'll talk about it while it's loading up. So when you go into a presentation, right? And it's either a listing presentation or it's a tenant rep or user rep presentation. And you might provide a visual that looks like this. And you would say, these are all the services that we conduct while we are representing you, the client. And so we talk about the acquisition criteria. We talk about how we conduct the best market survey based on the acquisition criteria, property search. And you can read across the row or the roadmap. We conduct some financial analysis. We negotiate on your behalf. We stay with you through the due diligence and make sure that we are proactive in the due diligence. We work with you through the closing and then sometimes help with the relocation. So this is the pretty standard roadmap, either on the user representative side or the investor rep side. What are we doing during that time? If you look at each one of those boxes, give it away, 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 right? And so hopefully we get to the end of that time period and you might have something that says, yay, and a celebration, or you might be reaching, so here's the yay on it, or you might be getting, does that look like a deal celebration? Yes. Okay. Or the other thing that might occur during this time is you get to the cliff and danger, cliff, steep drop, splat, right? So when you asked about why I started to make this transition, already in the back of my mind was, well, there's this other model. There's this model where we get paid for what we do as we're doing it. And then I started looking at scenarios like this, or you get to the end of a deal and the classic commissionectomy, right? And how does that make you feel? Aside from the fact that you've done the work, how does that make you feel as well? So those were reasons that I looked into this other model. And when you ask the question about why do you become a consultant, there are a couple other things too. Like if you're a lifelong learner, this idea of being paid for what you do when you're doing it allows you to dig deeper and find out more, and do this on a discovery journey, a partnership with your client. So you're both on the same side of the table instead of opposite sides of the table. So that was kind of the why of it in short. That I didn't quite build the whole watch, Jim, but that was the background from that.
Patricia, that's very interesting to share. And actually, I was talking to somebody else yesterday that they were creating kind of a TC for commercial, helping people kind of follow it through. But you're right, a lot of senior brokers want to hire people to do their due diligence and each step of the way. But sometimes one broker, maybe in the beginning, they just say, I'll do it all, right? To try to win the business, win the listing. But you're right. Each individual piece is a business. It's just really kind of marketing, getting it out there, sharing and showing with everyone. So, that's really interesting. And, I always want to add kind of that little tidbit before we transition into, this is great. You got a consulting idea, you want to work on it, but how do you get it out there? But Patricia, if you don't mind, I always say, with the pretty face of yours and your attractiveness, can you share a little interesting tidbit about what you do for a hobby? Because I don't think anyone really understands, and how that actually discipline, because I know you've been doing this for a long time, that discipline really helps you in pretty much all aspects of your life.
Got it. So I'm going to do that this way. When you ask about like, what's it take? I love this book by Malcolm Gladwell, and you can see the subtitle is The Story of Success. So he does, and came out maybe 15, 20 years ago, but he interviewed and studied people who were extremely successful. And, the Beatles, what did it take? Bill Gates, what did it take? And what he found was that they didn't just show up in Liverpool with I Want to Hold Your Hand or whatever song they came out with. There were 10,000 hours of repetitiveness, of continuing to grow, try, practice, etc. So this 10,000 hours, what Jim's talking about is, my face is getting a little red here. What Jim's talking about is, as I'm a martial artist, and I have since 2017, 14 world championships in performing katas and performing with weapons. And so that 10,000 hours, I've done 10,000 roundhouse kicks, and I've done 10,000 side kicks, and I've practiced my kata, my forms, 10,000 times. And that's what it takes. So that was his reference. But that's what it takes. It takes the passion, you wanting. Now our business takes passion, right? This is just moving from one thing that we know into something else that will generate additional income. But it takes passion, and it takes really knowing your stuff. I'm going to talk about the knowing your stuff in just a second, where those opportunities are. But it takes a resume. It takes a resume that supports your experience for the assignment. So, if you're just starting out in the business, probably consulting is maybe let me revisit. Maybe you have expertise in something outside of the normal business, but you're a specialist in, say, logistics because you came from a firm that where your job was logistics. How can you add that to what your team offers? Well, if you don't have the resume in the real estate industry, then you expand that resume by expanding your team, the members in your team, and you bring those in. So your team has a resume that supports your experience in the assignment. And Jim, I can just keep rolling in the what does it take if you would like, or do you have another question?
I just love that you brought that with the team, because many agents, you do work with a mentor, you do work with a team, you learn certain skill sets before you kind of move up to be that senior broker or leader of the entire assignment. And a lot of times you just do one thing. Maybe you're the coordinator, you're the marketing, you do the underwriting, right? You do the packaging until the senior broker really trusts you to be the right-hand man or woman to help organize everything, right? So they can go, and we all say it's the soft skills to make that pitch, right? To understand the different objections or how to handle it, or the knowledge, right? Once you have all that experience. And this is that perfect segue to kind of go into Exceed. Why did you set up this platform? We all know there's a ton of training for the residential. None of us had commercial trainings. And I think that's why with CCIM and a lot of other trade groups, but for you to set up the first commercial only training, CE courses, but it is a platform for everyone to share their knowledge and experience. Can you kind of go into this of why did you build this? Why did you go to this technology? And I know this is a long time coming, but I know right now there's a lot of people really interested in getting educated and using the platform.
You bet, you bet. And thank you for that transition. If there are questions later about how you get started in consulting, if you're wanting to make that shift, we can handle those too. But the education weaves into it. So Exceed CE. First of all, I love the name. Exceed beyond expectations. Always try to be exceeding. And what happened was, as a longtime CCIM instructor, another colleague and I, Jean Trowbridge, decided, and we'd received feedback that there was not much any really commercial continuing education. And so you know what you have to do when you have to renew your license, right? Every state is different, but California is 45 hours. You have to sit down and listen to 45 hours of lead paint and meets and bounds and residential multiple listing services, etc. And so we saw an opportunity, and we saw an opportunity to provide commercial CE. So we started the company as an online company. We started right before COVID happened, and COVID actually helped us because, well, you know what happened there is people couldn't go to live courses. And we offer, we offer residential CE too, but we offer commercial courses. We're approved as an online continuing education company in 15 states, couple that haven't quite made the map yet are Alabama. I'm doing some work in Kentucky, Idaho. And what we do in those states is we offer a full package so that someone can sign on, sit 24/7 whenever they want to obtain their real estate license. Couple of things on this slide. Our promise, exceed expectations. That's my staff's mandate. That's what we always try to do, is try to do better than that. Renew your license, renew yourself. We always must be continuing to learn. So while you're taking the time to renew your real estate license, why in the world wouldn't you have it apply to what you actually do for a living, subject to the regulations of the various states? So that's the background on the company. And there are a couple of things behind the scenes that are going on here. First of all, when you go to our website, you see a map, and the map, you click on the map and say, I want to renew my license in North Carolina. In North Carolina right now, we have a course, our only live course, we have a live course going on for commercial brokers and commercial agents at brokers in charge and agents right now. So you click on that map, get your CE. What's going on behind the scenes is twofold. One is that we're working with enterprises. So we are a training platform where I'll address enterprise first. If you are a company that wants to take your content and train your agents, we are set up to convert your content from those old training books that you have to something, and we all have them somewhere in our files, or to whatever, and incorporate whatever's new, but we can convert that to an online platform. Okay, so that's one. We can give you a portal where you can manage your agents, and you can have administrative access yourself so that you can see what they're doing and who's completed what. We can gamify this. We can provide certificates, etc. So that's the enterprise partner. We have a commercial real estate organization right now that has 4,000 members, and we contract with them so that they are able to provide their members, as a member benefit, free continuing education, and they contract directly with us. So it's a tremendous member benefit for those of you that might happen to be involved with an association or organization. The how to think about us, the partner content delivery. I have so many friends in the industry that are great speakers, and they offer great courses. And I say, why don't you put that online so people can access it, and you don't just get paid when you stand and deliver? And like, oh, it's too complicated. It takes a lot of time to administer it. There are a lot of training platforms out there now that you can just sit in front of a camera and record yourself. However, that taking your content and making it actionable, adding games, adding case studies from the industry, adding quizzes if it's regulated, monitoring it, handling the phones. We do all of that. So we can be that behind the scenes partner as well. Um, I think that basically covers
Well,
that
you
part of it.
do, you know, a lot of the minutia, Patricia, because a lot of it is those that are instructors are great speakers. They just want to do that, but they forget all the logistics of compliance, setting it up. If you want to be CE credits, oh boy, we've talked so much about how to go through certain states of getting the CE credits being registered, but even just putting the course together, making it professional, gamifying it to make it interesting, right? We want people to learn, be engaged. You know, this whole entire process, you've actually built it with Exceed CE to allow people with their expertise and knowledge, and even I would say coach them and train them of how to put a course. And maybe we can kind of go there about how do I get started? I know I see Nelson, you know, with the ESG, you know, and with the wealth of knowledge. And I think many of the people, I think are his partners are CCIM, but maybe you could share about how do you get started if you say, I have an idea, I'm an expert, I'm a good speaker. How do I get started in turning it into a course or a program?
Sure, the old-fashioned way, we actually talk. So we sit down and we have a 30-minute call and we say, send us your materials first. And then the first thing we really talk about is what's your goal? What's your objective? Do you want, I'm just go back to the map for a minute. Do you want to be in all of these states? You know, do you want continuing education for your course? If you want CE for your course, then we write it in a certain way. So we want to find out what you want. We have a couple of providers that offer services. Taxonics, for example, which is reviewing your property tax assessments. We have a Google Your Business author who speaks on this but doesn't have anything online, and they would like to raise the brand awareness of their companies. So that's a different objective. If it's just that without CE and you have a target market for your content, then we can build the course in a different way. So first thing is what do you want to accomplish with this? Then we look at your materials, and then we come back to you with a game plan, which is based on what you want to accomplish, based on who your markets are. It could be probably 3 to 4 months, I would say, all in to develop this out. And then we talk about different venues. What we're finding lately is in certain states where they renew every 2 years, and we've had courses that are text with some videos. Now they don't sign, they'll call and say, I want an all video course. I don't want to read anything. So we're looking at formats too. Are you comfortable in front of the screen? Do you want to be our person that sits there and narrates the whole time, and then we'll build in the questions and the activities in between? Or are you more comfortable being just a voice, a strong voice, but a voice, and then showing the various slides? So we talk about format. We have a demo that we give to people who want to partner with us, and it just shows all the different formats that we can use. And then we talk back and forth about how this would work. Some people want to revenue share, some people don't care about that. So then we talk about the business terms and then proceed from there. So that's how for individual speakers it works. If you're an organization and you would like to provide member benefits, we have a whole stream of courses where we can help you provide a subscription service for your members, if you will. And so that again is old-fashioned way. We have a conversation and then see what you want, ask about your needs, just like you would do on a consulting assignment. Coming back to what are you looking for? What do you need? What's important to you?
Patricia, do you mind sharing a lot of the different courses, maybe if you want to pop up your website and just some of the courses and just giving people ideas from very technical specific to, generalist or motivation, if you don't mind sharing, because I know it's been constantly evolving, because I know CE credits are the hardest depending on states if it's not already open. So if you don't mind sharing a little of the website and where to go and what courses do you offer?
You bet. And let's see. Stuck. Share again. Okay.
While you're changing, I guess Keith has a question. Keith.
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 Hey,
Yeah.
hey, this is a mastermind. You're allowed to ask questions, right?
Yeah, you bet. Bring it on.
Hey, I went in there and I was looking at Alabama, for instance, and you've got some things listed there where it says not approved for CE. Does that mean it will never be approved, or you're working on that, trying to get approved?
Sure. So Alabama, and this is pretty typical of what our site looks like. I'm thinking about moving these not approved to a separate page, but we have lots of different professional development courses, and each state, like Alabama, has pretty tough requirements. I'm Alabama, the courses can be either 3 or 4 hours. What we need to do to be fully approved there is teach their core course as well. So this hidden value of real estate tax, this is Ross's course, and this is how to, it's listed as professional development. In some states, we offer this for continuing education. The company is Taxonics, and what we do is, this is a great course, by the way. We go in and we talk about how to look at what the opportunity is in real estate property tax appeals, understanding the assessment, how to work with your clients, and it's 2 hours. It's a 2-hour course. That one, I believe we could get approved in Alabama. The Google Your Business, and this one's a really good course too. This author is a well-known speaker all around the country. And he has a course on AI and a course about how to develop your business profile, and how to attract more customers, understanding the ethical why of ChatGPT. So he gets into a lot of the consumer protection items too that the states want to see. Am I building the watch, or did I answer your question? It's a matter of, yes, we can, Keith, we can bring those into Alabama as well. It's just a matter of
If you could do that core, that'd be awesome. There's almost at least 600 of us in Alabama, commercial wise, not in this company, but everybody.
Right, I know, and you're like next to top of the list to get into too. So what we want to do is we want to move across the state and connect the state with gold states where we're located. This commercial leasing basics, investment cash fundamentals, introduction to commercial real estate sales. Jim, you asked about these. This is a course that Jean Trowbridge and I wrote, and it has it's called Fundamentals. So it has all of the basic fundamentals on what you need to know to get a good launch into commercial investment real estate. We talk about users versus investors. We talk about the basics of financial analysis, measures of investment performance. So this is our investment course. And it's text and video, got some good videos in there, commercial leasing basics. So each state has a different set of courses based on the state legislation and regulations. We've got some pretty good set of courses in South Carolina as well. Supply and demand factors, risk management, environmental. You know, a lot of these are your basic core requirements, and then you get to choose the electives that you would like.
Patricia, how do you go through with so many different courses? I guess you could search about the expertise, but the good thing is this is mostly about commercial real estate and all the different aspects. And the great thing is it's like the Udemy, as it changes so quick, experts can actually populate and put in. That's what I do want people to encourage them, as we want a commercial kind of a training platform for everyone that's interested about creating a course, especially with AI, blockchain, memes, coins, tokenization, that they can put their expertise and put it on a platform. So can you share a little about all of their different partnerships, distributions to grow the ecosystem even more? And it really is awareness and social media and getting it out there so people can, really plug in and share their knowledge and course with others or learn from others. And I know you're building communities and so many things on the Exceed CE.
Sure. And with regard to the sharing, if I get back over to the map, that's probably the best way to look at it. And the way that works, there are a couple associations in Southern California. They have a total of about 15,000 members. And what we do with them is we offer a subscription service on their website. And so what that means is call it $19 a month or $200 a year. What we allow their members to do is access about 30 different professional development courses. And oh, by the way, while you're accessing those courses, your CE is free in California. So that's one way that we work with partners. It's called channel marketing. We market the materials through their association, and they spread the word as a trusted source that has members belonging. In Washington State, we have an organization called CEBA, a Commercial Brokers Association. Now, if you're fortunate enough to live in the state of Washington, they have developed these courses directly for their members. And they have about 4,500 members. And if you are a member of CEBA, you have, Washington Fair Housing, purchase and sale, commercial agreements, their legal library, how to use it, leasing essentials. So that would be lease provisions, and art of syndication, commercial property management, great content developed specifically for Washington agents and Washington CE. And those members, they're required to take 30 hours of CE every 3 years. All of that is for free. So that arrangement where we work with Washington is something that we work directly with them. And I just realized I was not sharing that. So I was talking it through and looked over and I was not sharing, but you got the gist of it. That's how that works in Washington, for example. So let me go back up just real quickly here. So that's another way that we can partner. They contract directly with us to offer this service to their agents. In North Carolina, we're working with a commercial board. So here you can see some of the great Washington courses that are offered that I was just mentioning. Here's the commercial lease agreements, purchase and sale updates. You can see their core specifically written for them to include the new fair housing regs. You can see the leasing essentials. So this was all built out over the last 4 years in conjunction with Washington Commercial Brokers Association to get this information out and offer this great service to their customers. So that's probably that has been our most long-standing partnership. And then when we go to, say, North Carolina, like I said, we're brand new there. We just have a few, but there's so much, a few courses because they're really hard to get approved in North Carolina. So we have this update course for commercial and for regular agents. We just got approved our investment course. But what happens there is we work with an association that puts all of our courses on their website and pushes it out to their members. And so they're delighted to have the commercial content. And I get comments on that every time I talk to them, to anyone that is taking the courses from North Carolina. So I think that's those are probably the best examples, Jim, of various partnerships that we have. And then some of these individual courses, as I mentioned, were written. I'll go to Michigan. We have some authors in Michigan that we sell a lot of their courses for them. This online techniques to protect your clients, great course, and that's a local Michigan author. This virtual staging, now that's more for residential, but we sell that a lot. It's just a 1-hour course, and this fellow's a Michigan subject matter expert who teaches this, and he also teaches online marketing. So he came to us and said, hey, I'd like to put my content on your website. So we do want to reach all of the markets. We just want to be known and focus on servicing that commercial market.
Patricia, we're really excited because I know, talking about this, about maybe development, capital markets, how other people, global aspects, how to do business. I know I'll be speaking at an event at CCIM in Florida for that, but there's so many people that needs to actually share when they're speaking about something or writing a book, turning it into a course. I always say nowadays, like, just remember CCIM, differentiating yourself, right? Way back, everyone was a broker, like you said, gunslinging, doing deals. But getting the CCIM back then was to differentiate. But now you got to still keep differentiating yourself more with social media and everything else to really get yourself beyond, I can do a deal, I know my market, but being an expert, right? A lot of people that are clients wants to see if you are an author, have you put a course, are you training and doing other things? So can you share a little more about, what you've seen by just putting courses together and everything, how it's helped a lot of these, I'd say, brokers increase their business?
Yeah. Well, first, let me say that it takes a time and focus when you're going into a new expanded venue for your services. It takes learning about it, and how do you become an expert at that social media? Or, I'm going to jump into TikTok and do videos. Well, you don't just show up and dance, right? You start to look at how you film yourself, what the camera angles look like, et cetera. So there's a lot to it, and it can take the focus away. And so what I would say for those who want to expand their markets is, I'm not saying stay in your lane. I'm saying recognize your lane, double down on that, expand there with what you know, and then let us help you to expand your lane by being in our lane, right? So how has it helped so far? Often so this is anecdotally, often when I'm going into a new state and I'm talking to people who might potentially be partners, they see someone who's written a course there and they say, oh yeah, I know Ross, or oh yeah, I know Michael. And so it's starting to just build that, brand recognition. Anytime when you go back to have a resume that substantiates who you are, that justifies you being a consultant. One of the Malcolm Gladwell principles for success, this is part of building that resume. So you can say, hey, I'm online with these courses. I'm known as an expert in that field.
Thank you. Let me ask, open some questions. Does anyone else have any questions? Maybe Nelson, you want to kind of add, because I know you may have courses or may want to put your own course together.
As a matter of fact, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. This is awesome. I have been working on trying to teach value add strategies that focus on sustainability, resilience, and risk mitigation for real estate owners. And I have solutions ranging from water reduction, HVAC optimization, filtration, lighting, solar, battery, and cost segregation, 179D, whatever tax reduction. So we can provide kind of a holistic strategy of, hey, how do we use sustainability and resiliency to be a value add for real estate owners, especially as we're dealing with higher and higher insurance costs, operating costs, and all of those things.
Sure.
Interest.
So what we would do, we can do a little trial free consult here. It's a free consult anyway, but this is a very public free consult. What I would do with you, Nelson, is I would say, look, here are, first of all, that's great content that's not frequently out there. So your first objective is spread the word, educate people. Now, do you want to do that? Do you have an audience built in? And if you have an audience built in, then what we might say is, okay, well, let's let you market to that audience, and we'll put content out there that, based on who they are, they will both understand and find interesting. Then the other thing we would say is, this is what's involved in getting into these various states if you want to be there for CE. And so
I'm going to tell you one thing. So I'm
Yeah.
also partnering with the United States Green Building Council's Texas chapter
Great.
on trying
Okay.
to build a presence in the YouTube channel. And
Okay.
so we have that network, to reach into to help promote our stuff.
Super. And we can help them too. We can help them as well. We work with organizations like that. So we would sit down and say, here are the options. here are the audiences, here's what would take for each one, and then we would look at building a program. I hope that makes
Is
sense.
there a revenue share that, you know, we don't have a high cost of going in, but willing to share revenues?
Yeah, and so that's part of the being a newer a newer company. And by the way, we are a woman-owned company, and I have one partner, but I am the operational partner, so I'm the boss, and which means that I can have the flexibility and make the decisions on helping our customers and partners, and then make that call. So revenue share will be a function of all the other costs. We sit down, we take a look at cost of production, how large the market is, and then where the revenues go as a result. Some of it's a function of who's doing the marketing. But yes, that is all on the table.
I think, Nelson, you got to set a time for a meeting.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great connection. Thank you.
April, I think you have something to say, because I know you are doing a CE course, and maybe you can collaborate with Patricia with this. April?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jim, for this time to speak. And Patricia, thanks for the presentation and the information that you shared. And as Jim mentioned, I'll be reaching out to you for collaboration later. I do serve as the co-chair of our education committee here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we are
Yes.
on an in-person 8-hour CE course. It's going to be, so I would like everyone, if you are in Atlanta or near the area, save the date for May the 16th. It's going to be from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Again, 8-hour CE course. We're taking a deep dive into site to do business with the AI component. And our instructors are going to be some of your pals, Patricia. That'll be Mark Seipert and Michael Hieronymus. I hope I said his name correctly.
Michael Hieronymus. Yeah.
Hieronymus, yes. So
Yeah.
I've been conversing with them back and
Yes.
forth. We've been putting on this great in-person training. Everyone is invited that is near here. And again, it is an 8-hour CE course. The unique thing about it is it's going to also be case studies. So we're going to do case study on office, industrial, retail, as well as multifamily. So this is going to be hands-on. Anyone who attends can actually implement the information learned and shared immediately once you get back to your businesses. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
April,
Patricia,
that's gonna be terrific. And we have Georgia highly targeted on our list. I mentioned that this is I'm the boss and the operating partner, and it's me. So
Gotcha.
we're looking at in the next year to get to Georgia as well, and I will be reaching out to you then.
Absolutely. I'll put my contact information in the chat. We started our CE course, or I'm sorry, we got approved to do CE courses, I want to say in 2023, during the third quarter. And so we've really been taking off. So it's been real interesting. Thanks again, Jim.
Thank you, April. Looking forward to you connecting with Patricia. This is why we're doing this, is to raise awareness. All of us that really love commercial real estate, helping each other, connecting with each other, opening opportunities. And if you'd like to reach out to Patricia, you know, like I said, she runs and owns the platform. She is a consultant, a strategist, a keynote speaker, educator, helping you put courses, partner. And I know Hieronymus, Michael, and them are working with you too. So a lot of people you're speaking with are working with Patricia, but there are new people in the platform. So I encourage everyone to reach out to talk. And Patricia, like a CCIM, for those that are interested, right? It's a great training platform. But final words, Patricia, for this audience, and just anything you'd like to share.
Sure. Well, one thing, I put up a QR code. I am teaching. I wrote the consulting course for the CCIM Institute, their Robert L. Ward Center course, and I am teaching that in April. So many of the follow through on the how do you get started, what do you do, what's your first step, why can I sell something others are giving away for free? We'll be talking about that in this. It's really consulting and investing course, but that's a QR code for that. It's not my course, it's CCIM Institute's, but I wanted to make you aware of that. And then the other, in terms of final words, is just, it's like being a black belt. When you become a black belt, everybody's really proud because you've been working at this for so long that the fabric on the outside of your belt wears away and it becomes white. And so they say that when you become a black belt, you become a white belt and start all over again. And having done that, earned 2 different black belts in different forms, I can say that starting over again, becoming a black belt, it's part of lifelong learning. And that's what keeps us invigorated and successful as well.
Patricia, thank you so much for being a guest on Top Agent Commercial Wednesday. Looking forward for everyone connecting with Patricia, learning, right? It is learning as much as you can. Life is exciting. Get your 10,000 hours under your belt. Put these courses together. It is fun. And Patricia, looking forward to more things that Exceed CE with this group, connecting. And I look forward to Nelson and many others here putting other courses together. So again, everyone have a great day. Looking forward to seeing everyone every Wednesday for just cutting edge information in commercial real estate, but just knowledge to help you grow your business. So again, Patricia, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing everyone again every Wednesday. So everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Patricia.
Jen.